After a long day of school or work, how many of us go home and turn on the television as a form of relaxation? Depending on your age, it defines the channel you're going to flip to. An older person may flip to the news or the History Channel, while on the other hand, teenagers are going to turn to MTV or something similar in that nature. On television, there's never been more shows about teen pregnancy than there are today. Teen pregnancy is an issue that affects the entire world, not just the individual person. It is an issue that affects 1 out of every 18, and 1 out of every 8 girls. It is a staggering statistic to have that many girls affected by an issue that we as a country have the ability and the knowledge to stop is even just more of a tragedy. Having these shows on the air has helped, and if we didn't have it, we might be setting teenagers up for failure. The television shows are supposed to help us, not send us back decades. The shows send an important message to teenagers about some of the struggles that people face as being teen moms. Teenagers are influenced by what they hear and see on the television as well as other places. Television does influence the way we perceive teen pregnancy in diverse ways. However, the way we as a culture address these issues is by talking about them with our children and having television shows to back us up. Teenagers are going to do what they want. When the statistics came out into the public eye, MTV decided to take an in-your-face approach to solving this growing statistic. Teenagers have the mindset that nothing can happen to them until it's too late. Linda Chavez states, teenagers watch an average of 3 to 4 hours a day watching television. For every hour they watch, an average of 6.7% of sexual content, and think that sex is more beneficial. It's a staggering statistic to know that for every hour we watch, there's so much sexual content. Teenagers watch television with the intention of releasing stress from their day. If they are forced to watch sexual content, they will be more likely to want to emulate what they see happening on the television. They do not think about the actions that can lead. They do not think about what their actions can lead to, and that can be dangerous and harmful. Brian Housen, in the article, Popular Media Glamorizes Teen Pregnancy, states, instead of seeing the full picture, all we see is the teen mom and the cute baby. When you watch that show, all you see is teen moms sitting there, and they're all on their own. But yet, if you were older, you could have all the support in the world from your family and friends, and most of the time, when you're older and you have a baby, you have more financial support, and all the moms on those shows are not really doing anything. They're just pawning their baby off on their family, and that's not really the right thing to do. Television shows are portraying to young people that it is acceptable to have sex. In the show 16 and Pregnant, Secret Life of the American Teenager, and Juno, the movie Juno depicts a young girl getting pregnant after having sex with her best friend just so they could both know what sex felt like. The movie won awards, but after all the dust settled, there was even more controversy. Brian Housen also stated 17 girls from Massachusetts formed a pregnancy pack, and some of the girls were upset that they were not pregnant. Movies and television are sending the wrong message to teenagers that it is socially acceptable to have babies. They need to be helping young people in America by setting the right example for what men and women are supposed to be acting like. They are the individuals that people look up to as idols, and that's not really the way that we should be seeing this. The National Campaign to Prevent Teen and Unplanned Pregnancy has even created a weekly episode discussion guide that can be downloaded to better understand what each chapter is going through in the episode. It is a helpful tool that we should use to help use to the fullest to help a person out if they need it. The television shows on some of our favorite networks do not cover the consequences of having sex can lead to. Yes, it is true that teenagers on the show, it says that you can have a baby. However, they do not tell teenagers what the different options are until they already have the baby. Jonah Goldblum in Reality Television Debases Society indicates, out of wedlock birth was once a great shame. Now it is something of a happy lifestyle choice. Self-discipline was once a virtue. Now self-expression is king. They need to send the message to unity of men and women. There is a waiting show to get on the show 16 and Pregnant. That's just irrational that girls get pregnant just so they can receive the fame of the show. That is a bad decision. They think that it would be easy to have a child, but in some cases, there wouldn't be a show on the air if it was a good thing. They could be taking the necessary precautions to keep themselves safe. At the end of some of the programs, they deal with teenage pregnancy. They talk about what children and teens can do to stop the rates of teen pregnancy. They have little segments about the different websites you can go to. They have all the different types of information on them about what you can do to avoid becoming a statistic and what to do if you become that statistic. There are different steps that we can take to help solve this problem today rather than in the future. If we as a society let our teenagers have babies without consequences, they will be willing to repeat the statistic year after year. However, if there are consequences, they would not want to do it because it wouldn't be as rebellious. Parents should talk about sex and teen pregnancy and how to avoid it or stop it as a whole. The opportunity to talk about sex is coming faster and faster than in recent decades. Teenagers need a source that will give them the proper knowledge and assistance. Teenage pregnancy is 100% preventable. How should we, as a society, stop this issue? What do you think about this epidemic?
Anthony's not here, is he? All right, hang on just a second.
She had one, she got pregnant, she had one, she got pregnant. No, like she had one and then she got pregnant. And she had the next year or the following year.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Well, yeah, you have to be pregnant for 9 months. Like one's 2, the next one's 1, and the next one's just 4 in August.
All right, Jayme, the audience survey at the beginning works adequately. The subject of your topic is teen pregnancy. We know that. But I got a little confused as you went along because at first it sounded to me like you were going to be defending those shows that deal with that issue, like 16 and Pregnant or Teen Moms or whatever the shows happen to be. And you mentioned the movie Juno, and it sounded like you were going to be saying these are important, that kids are going to learn something from this. And then later on, it sounded like you were kind of criticizing those shows, suggesting they give a false image to teenagers of what it's like to be a mom, and it allows them to escape the reality of their situation, or the viewers to escape that. So I thought that there was a little of inconsistency in the way you were going about this. That teen pregnancy is a problem. I don't think there's a lot of doubt about that. I do think you could probably find some pretty easy statistics to illustrate that. Linking it to the behaviors that are emulated by actors or performed by actors on television shows or in movies, I think is a little bit harder to do. You've got some conclusionary statements from contemporary observers about those issues, but I wasn't sure that any of that was as convincing as it needed to be.